My name's Parker Isdall. I'm 23 and I work for a heavy machinery company. So I was in a car accident, a pretty bad one, to where I couldn't walk for a few months, couldn't use my leg. So I got in touch with Dr. Sanchez about just trying to get a different perspective on my way of thinking. So the way that I dislocated my hip, I severed a lot of the nerves that run down my right leg. So they were worried about permanent damage to where I wouldn't be able to walk or carry a proper workload. So I had to work through those types of adversities. It's kind of brutal. You go into a pretty dark spot and you start negative thinking about the worst outcomes that could happen. So like my whole life is spent pretty much outdoors doing something, whether it's hunting, fishing, running dogs, just boating, whatever, always outside. So having that stripped away, or possibly being stripped away from you, that's a kind of a tough thought to bear. So I was down for a while. You have to kind of pull yourself up out of the mud and put everything in perspective and look at it from all sorts of different angles, because unless you do that, you pretty much stay in one spot. Because I realized that if I didn't, I was going to stay in a mindset to where I probably wouldn't heal correctly, so I knew I needed to change that. Talking with Dr. Sanchez, he kind of told me some different things that you can do to kind of retrain your brain into a positive way of thinking in darker times. So then once he kind of gave me an outline of things that the brain can do in healing, I kind of studied and researched on my own to kind of figure out what else you can do, and there's a lot. Truthfully, it probably healed me faster, just because the brain does work in weird ways, and you have to train your way of thinking, and your body reacts for sure. When you retrain your way of thinking, you can aid your body in different ways. So say your finger was broken and you needed your finger to work again. You just sit there and tell it, just even if it's not doing it, just tell it to do it, tell it to do it. Your body will react to that, and after learning that, it changed a lot of things. I try not to talk negatively about situations. I look at things with a different kind of outlook, just because through every hard time or adversity there's a lesson in it, or there's something that if you overcome it, there's better times and broader perspectives on the other side. It makes you realize what you're capable of as a person. You kind of find out what you're made of, if you got grit in you or not, because it's tough. I feel like a lot of people get stuck in a certain way of thinking, and that's their biggest issue. It was more I just had to work myself up to that point. So small things every day. It's kind of like training a dog. You'll have small progress every day, even if you can't even see it, and then all of a sudden there's just one day of breakthrough. So it's just, you got to do the little things every single day, and it adds up. The thought of being stuck in the mud, you can't just leave yourself to die. You gotta keep fighting for what you're after. And my thing was that I wanted to be able to walk around the woods or walk around the mountains again, and experience those little things in life. And I wasn't about to have a small little accident keep me away from doing the things I love. So when you start looking at accidents or adversities with kind of a more open mind, like what can I learn from this, rather than, oh God, this is gonna suck. When you start kind of looking at it from like a learning perspective, you can take a lot of good things away from that, and you come out a stronger person.
Sweet.
In one way or the other. So Dr. Sanchez's process was different because it's not really like real. It doesn't feel real medical. It doesn't feel like you're talking to a psychologist or something. He's working with your brain and kind of trying to shape a brighter perspective on things. I think anybody that's looking into renewing your mind, it's a good idea just because you get a perspective change on things, and that's always good. I think it's a good idea for guys to get into this type of coaching, just because it gives you a different perspective on a different way of thinking. So, Dr. Sanchez's process has helped me get back to my healthy self again. It's given me a kind of a better perspective on things, and that helps me get through hardships and adversities. I think it's kind of priceless just because it gives you different types of life skills. This renewing the mind training helped me get out of the mud, and I think it could help anybody in the same type of circumstance.